Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing Drawback chess, where each player is assigned a random drawback, like Lame Duck, where you can't move your king, or True Gentleman, where you can never capture a queen. My goal is to win 5 games. Let's get started with game number 1. Alright, game number 1, we get the black pieces, and our drawback is leveling up. You can't capture a piece until you've captured its predecessor in the list, in order of piece value, so pawn, knight, bishop, rook, queen, and king. So obviously first I'm going to go for a pawn, so I can unlock knight, bishop, rook, and we're immediately denied. Okay, we'll try to insist. I mean, it's kind of critical that even if I have to sacrifice some pieces, that I get these trades on the board, or else I'm going to be at a very serious disadvantage. Okay, the opponent does take. Finally, we can capture a pawn. So next we need to be able to capture a knight. So we'll just go bishop g4, threaten the knight. I don't love getting rid of the bishop right away because odds are bishops will just trade with other bishops. Usually you can't force a knight to trade for a bishop, but one bishop is probably enough to force another trade. Queen to b3 makes me immediately think this is a much stronger player because their drawback must be insane to play queen to b3 when I take on f3. So we're actually allowed to capture a bishop now. It's a little bit like dice chess. I'm wondering if I should take on g2 and see if that gives me any information about their drawback. But it's also possible that they just need to like capture on a specific square. I remember I got one where you had to capture on a8. So that's not totally unlikely. Let's capture on g2 and just see what happens. Wow, rook to g1. Okay, so I am allowed to capture this bishop. Can they just not like take back at all? Okay, rook takes back, so they're allowed to capture in some ways, apparently. Let's play pawn to e6. We're up material now, so I guess there's really no crazy rush. And the only pieces we haven't captured are rook and queen. But that's kind of inevitable as the game sort of progresses. Bishop to g5, I'm just going to castle out of the way. Honestly, in the large scheme of things, our drawback is not that difficult. Rook to g1, probably looking for bishop h6. Let's just play rook to b8, defending the pawn. If we do get bishop to h6, rook to f7 holds down the fort. Queen reroutes to come into the attack, but the problem is the knight covers these 2 squares. So unless she's looking for f3, I'm not really in danger. So I'm just going to bust open the center and just start looking down the barrel at the king. I'm pretty confident at this point in the game that the opponent must have a much harder drawback than we do. I'm just curious what it is because too far we have 2 inexplicable not recaptures on f3 and g2. We get bishop to h6. I can just stop this, right? Just making sure. Yeah, rook to f7 seems totally fine. I don't see a reason not to play that. All right, knight to d2 doesn't do anything about the center being kicked down like the FBI kicking down the door, so we're going right for that d pawn. Okay, again, they don't recapture, but this can be written off as a decision to continue the attack. I just have to figure out if there's any way I can punish that. For the moment, I'm just going to take on c3. I mean, it seems to be there's a lot of pieces coming my way, but something like knight g5, I think I can just take. If the knight takes my rook, I just take back, and that's probably fine. Okay, pawn does take back. Let's move the king out of the way. So this is no longer pinned, and the bishop kind of has to skedaddle from that square. Because honestly, if the bishop moves, then the only piece attacking left is the rook, and by itself, it's not going to achieve a whole lot. Let's give check, bring the other rook into the attack. Honestly, we're in a super comfortable position here. The worst thing the opponent could do is take and try to take the pawn, but even then the knight drops. So there's not a lot of follow-up that I can see for the white pieces. Okay, queen to d2, probably trying to bring the rook into the game. Knight to e4 here is super interesting. Bishop takes queen. Oh, but that doesn't work because I haven't taken a rook yet. Okay, so what we're going to do is move the queen out of the way because we do actually need a rook trade. So if the rook comes to e1, that's actually pretty much a perfect step in our plan. We're down to a minute. We do get 2 seconds back for every move that we make. King g2, this check looks like so much fun. I have to play it, unfortunately, no self-control. And I think I just win a knight. That's the cool thing. You can sort of mask not having self-control as being a tactician if you actually end up winning some material. There's fun ideas of knight to e4, we uncover f2. I mean, there's just a lot of attacking ideas here. There shouldn't be a way for white to hold this position together, especially not if you account for whatever their crazy drawback might be. We'll take here with check, knight to e4, and this should be pretty much over as long as you don't get back ranked, but even that has a lot of different ways to be defended. We've captured everything up to a rook. The bishop comes down and holds on to the pawn. Check. I pick up another bishop. Yeah, and we're just very, very comfortably winning here. What I don't know is what our opponent's drawback is. Oh, there we go. Okay, with that, we win game number 1. Let's go ahead and pop up the info board. All right, you won. Your opponent resigned. Your opponent's drawback was Gloomstalker. You can only capture from dark squares. Oh, okay, so this opponent might not be super high rated compared to us, but their drawback compared to our drawback, the compatibility is pretty terrible because I'm incentivized to trade and my opponent is incentivized to completely avoid trade. So they're kind of at a disadvantage from what I can see. With that, we have 1 victory under our belt. Let's go to move on to game number 2. All right, game number 2, same opponent. We get the black pieces again, and our drawback now is lethal attraction. You can't make moves that place the moving piece further away from your opponent's king than it started. So basically, every move that you make with any piece has to be closer to the king than it started. So we get e4. The best way I see to play this, in my opinion, is to play very slowly at the beginning. Like, don't overcommit anything if you can avoid it. And then once your opponent decides where they're going to castle, then you just kind of launch a Hail Mary attack. The reason I say you should play slowly at the beginning is because the king kind of has a power up by being able to castle. So if you launch all your pieces into the center and they're terribly placed, but maybe they have a good attack going, and your opponent's like, wait a minute, castling is the thing, and they castle out of the way, suddenly your pieces have to awkwardly maneuver to wherever that castle occurred, basically. Okay, we get pawn d4, and that is a lot of yapping theory, but I really do think at least that's my approach. So I'm going to start by playing a little bit more reserved. Once the opponent commits the king, and hopefully they commit the king sooner rather than later, which this move is not super promising for, then we sort of launch the attack. I'm going to give myself the advantage of h5 because it does seem likely that the opponent will start by castling kingside, although this kind of position, so symmetrical, could lend itself to either direction. Okay, bishop to e3. Maybe they are going to castle queenside. Let's play a5. Let's have one foot in both doors and see what the opponent makes of it. Okay, a4, they actually stop our quote-unquote single pawn attack. Let's play c6, so knight b5 and knight d5 are never ideas. Also gives the queen a way to develop. Oh, never mind. They are in fact going to castle queenside. Let's play knight to f6. And I think this is okay. If the king castles this way, we'll play like, oh, rook to d1. Interesting. So the king might just be in the center, and I actually can't castle because that puts my king further away from my opponent's king. So that's another benefit of the opponent castling earlier, is that you can commit your own king, but it seems we're going to be center campers for today. Okay, well, I guess we'll just buy a little more time. Queen c7. It's a shame because if the opponent plays a very slow game, I have really no choice but to slow march my pieces closer to the king. You'll see that if I highlight my king, I'm not even allowed to move side to side, because that would at least give me an out to waste some moves. Let's play b6, maybe bishop b7, but of course if the king castles this way, that's not a possibility. Oh, bishop b7 is possible though if the king is in the center. It's just enough that we're moving up a rank to justify moving out to the side. I wonder if I can move the bishop back after, because that would be a good way to kill some moves. Oh, it's so funny. I was just going to say my opponent's been using up a good amount of time, but I just realized I have like 10 more seconds than they do, so gonna have to bite my tongue on that one. But g4 is an option now that h4 has been played. Come on, do it. You know you want to castle. No, bishop c4. Why bishop c4? What is this? Are you gonna sacrifice? Oh, I can play the bishop back. That's an excellent way to waste some moves. Oh wait, what's the issue here? Knight g5, and then I just cry about my position. Okay, let's play e6 first. And if the opponent doesn't go for any breakthroughs, then I just kind of wait until they castle. If they do go for a breakthrough, then I sit here and wonder what I've done to my position. But hopefully we'll not have to face the latter of those. Whoa, king to f1. What is up with you? Okay, so this is clearly their drawback showing. And I can castle now because of it? Oh, that's so good. That's wonderful. Okay, apparently we can castle now that king f1 has been played. I'm not gonna sit here and even try to do the math on how that works, but knight g4, as far as I'm concerned, that king is now committed to the king side, so we'll see what kind of attack we can sort of throw together. Pawn takes, queen takes. Please don't play here. That might be losing the queen for me. I might be able to have e5, because the problem is if my opponent plays here, actually maybe queen d7 moves it closer to the king in terms of files. So that might be okay. Okay, we can move queen to e7, and we will. 40 seconds left for the opponent. Either they are YouTubering as well, or not having a fun time dealing with their drawback. Okay, this is less than fortunate. What do we do about that? e5? Takes, and we just trade everybody off. I mean, I don't love it, but king is in the center, 37 seconds left for the opponent. Hopefully we can do something with this central break. Okay. Oh, the knight can't take back, but the bishop can. So if you take, I take. And hopefully you don't realize what that means about my knight not being able to move back. Oh, knight d6. Wait a minute, what? Knight d6. Are they testing to see if I can move backwards? Because I definitely cannot. Queen takes. I want to play here, but this makes more sense. This is falling. What's two pieces for a rook, if not a benefit? Okay, knight takes. I can move the rook closer to the king on the recapture. Now that there aren't a lot of pieces left, we're gonna have to be really careful. I guess this doesn't work because of knight to e3, but still. 16 seconds left for the opponent. I'm very tempted to just apply pressure to the position. Let's play this, see if we can bait this move, and like check. Maybe we take here, bring the king out even further. I mean, if the king is in the middle of the board, I have no Oh, I can't take backwards, and I think the opponent knows that. Oh my goodness, and I can't take like this because the bishop just takes my king. Okay, well, Oh, I can't even move my king because, oh my goodness, I have to take, don't I? I have to take. There's no way the opponent figured us out. They might have just figured us out, to be honest. Yep, the opponent takes, and with that, we lose game number 2. Let's go ahead and pop up the info board. All right, that was quite a way to go. I honestly didn't even think about queen takes g6 because just in your chess player brain, you say, yeah, the queen protects the pawn. How could that ever be an issue? Nope, the queen does not. You lost. Your opponent took your king. Your opponent's drawback was forward march. You're kidding me? They can't move backwards either? Wow, that was almost like our drawback. But okay, with that, we have 1 victory under our belt. Let's go to move on to game number 3. Before we move on, if you want to improve your openings, I recommend checking out the sponsor of this video, chessreps.com, which offers easy step-by-step opening lessons. Drill your opening to climb to the top of the leaderboard or do puzzles that come from real games. Like this puzzle where I can click back to see how we got to this Jobava London position before delivering this nasty fork. Puzzles are completely free, so you can keep doing puzzles to increase your opening elo and then take that practice into a real game, like I did to crush my opponent with the Jobava London. If you want to support the channel and become an opening menace, check out chessreps.com. Now, back to the video. All right, game number 3. Wait, is this the same opponent? I genuinely cannot tell, but I think it is. Yellow seems familiar. I genuinely might have amnesia of some kind. Okay, our drawback is Spice of Life. You can't move the same piece type twice in a row. I don't know if we've had this drawback before. I don't think we have. I'm trying to think, because usually for most of these, they're so unique that you usually have like a specific way to approach it, but I don't think we've ever had this drawback, so I don't think I have a framework for this one at all. Okay, what are the ramifications of this? If you're, okay, I guess if you're at the end of the game and you've traded off a lot of different pieces, that could be an issue. Because instead of being able to cycle through pieces like we are right now developing, if you wanted to go, for example, pawn hunting with your king, you'd have to make a move with your king, a move with a different piece, a move with your king, a move with a different piece. Or even worse, if it was a bunch of pawns and just the 2 kings, you move your king, you have to move a pawn. You move your king, if you've run out of pawn moves, I guess you forfeit the game, but let's hope it doesn't make it to that. So far, we're playing decently symmetrical. They're playing on the light squares, I'm playing on the dark squares, so we'll probably end up in a sort of gridlocked position as long as they don't go for something like this, but that would be kind of redundant with the e-pawn, so hopefully not super likely. What I'd like to see is d5, so I can play knight to e5 and get some sort of kingside attack going. Although they haven't committed the d-pawn yet, which is concerning me a little bit. We did play c3 to stop the knight from coming into b4. They play a5. I don't want to overcommit this knight and walk into d6, so let's play... Oh, I can't move a pawn again. Okay, queen d2, and then we'll play h4. The other issue, I guess, is if you have like a free piece type, like let's say you have a free rook, and you make a move with your other rook, that actually puts this rook in danger too, because the opponent can threaten it, and then you can't move it out of the way. Okay, a4. I was going to play h4, but a3 seems to make a little more sense. I'm happy to make like a king move by castling, and then play h4 as well. So there's a couple of like weird edge cases where this drawback is absolutely terrible, but I don't think that overall it's awful as long as we keep pieces on the board. Okay, bishop b7. Let's just go for it. h4. This is a good example, right? I want to storm with my pawns, but I can only make 1 pawn move at a time before I have to alternate to a different piece. Okay, h5. What about knight to e5 now? Takes, I take with a different piece. Takes, I move a different piece. I think that's fine. Don't think there's an issue to be had with that. Ah, there it is. The all-knowing d6. And the best part, oh, I can't even take because I just moved a knight. Why would I be able to move a knight again? All right, kingside attack it is, g4. Let's go for it. No time to complain, only time to push pawns and pieces. He's thinking about it. A lot, actually. Okay, this is good. I think this is a good sign. Not capturing my knight in the middle of the board. Has to be good for me, I hope. Oh, they take the pawn, which means I can take back and spare my own knight. Which means, I was going to say it means I can push h5 in a second, but of course, knight to h5 swoops in to ruin the day. Bishop g5, f6, bishop takes is not possible because I'd move the bishop twice in a row. Bishop g5, f6, knight h6 check is possible, but then I just have 2 pieces in peril, and that's doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's just play rook to g1, get the rook out of danger. And I guess if knight takes, I move a pawn, so that's fine if I just moved a rook. Ooh, queen takes. Now this is tempting. I can't play it obviously, but it's very, very interesting idea. Let's try check. Bother the king a little bit. And again, I'm just trying to open lines against the opponent's position. And I'm very curious why they're so hung up on capturing my pawns. Because normally you wouldn't go for these pawns. You just try to like close the position and then start your own attack. But instead the opponent has a fascination with grabbing all of my pawns. King to h7 does put my knight in some danger. Rook to h1. Oh, rook to h1 is sketchy. If the opponent does take, I can't even take back. But I don't think the opponent would be able to guess that. I think the only way the opponent would take here is if they could figure out what my drawback was. But I'm willing to bet that the opponent is too hung up on their own to think about ours. Yeah, queen to e7, queen takes. free because the bishop pins the pawn. Oh, and with that, wow, we beat the opponent with the exact same thing they beat us with. With that, we win game number 3. Let's go ahead and pop up the info board. All right, you won. You took your opponent's king with the exact same trick the opponent used against us, no less. Your opponent's drawback was way easier than ours, actually. Theirs was stage fright. You can't move to the center 4 squares. Oh, actually, that forces d6, hilariously enough, which is what I was having an issue with. But our drawback was significantly harder than our opponent's, and we still managed to pull away with the victory. We now have 2 wins under our belt. Let's go to move on to game number 4. All right, game number 4, we get the black pieces. This is definitely not the same opponent. Our drawback is Winds of Fate. Every turn, you will randomly be unable to move either left or right. That's so bad. I don't like these drawbacks that include a randomized factor. They usually don't go my way. Let's go d6. If I randomly am not able to move one direction or another, I think again, having more pieces of the board on the board is to my advantage. If I only have a couple of pieces and none of them want to move to the right for whatever reason, because it's free or whatever, then I'm going to want a piece that can move to the left and so on. So I think a fianchetto is a good way to do that too. You can waste a couple of moves if necessary. Oh, can't move left. Beg my pardon. Can't even do that. Let's go c6. I guess pawns will be a good way to sort of kill off spare moves as well. Bishop d3, can't move left again. Thank you so much. We'll go knight to f6. I've not been wanting to play this because if there is any tension in the center, it might be hard to address if suddenly I can't move left, for example, so I can't even take. You've got to be kidding me. And I can't move left. I literally called that. Okay, but I can move right, so knight to d5 is the saving grace there, but if c4, I was gonna say if c4 and I can't move right, that's as good as gone. Oh, can't move left again. Am I gonna be able to move left this entire game? b5, I guess. Bishop b7. I usually like to have the sort of base plan of going for a kingside attack, because usually checks or not being able to move your king and stuff like that, or having to defend your king or what have you, is a theme. Or at least if it has to do with their drawback, it's critical immediately. Okay, now we can move left, but we can't move right. So bishop g7, I guess. Well, let's kind of just try to tuck the king away. Can't move left, so we'll move right. The reason I say tuck the king away is because if I lose a whole bunch of pieces, like right here, can't move right, so I can't even take back. Obviously, I'm not going to take with the queen. At the least I can do is tuck away my king. Now, if they take here and it says I can't move left, then we're just going to go for a Hail Mary attack because that's ridiculous. There's no way. The problem is it's 50-50. It literally is just 50-50. So I don't know, queen c8, watch the opponent just take and promote to a queen. This time though, I can capture both ways. So it's not as critical, but it's still very bad. Okay, queen promotes straight ahead, which means I can just take it. I wonder why they didn't take. Unless their drawback has to do with capturing. We get knight to d6, which is definitely a fork. Can't move right, and I did say I was going to Hail Mary, so let's just go queen g4, c5, and see if we can't invent a kingside attack of some kind. Ooh, knight takes b7, ignores the free rook and grabs the free bishop instead, which is either a very smart tactical decision or the opponent just kind of didn't see it. Or they couldn't because of their drawback. Let's go knight to f4. Opponent should take, and given my luck, I should get not being able to capture right. But if they don't, queen takes g2 is very promising. And it's a move that goes straight ahead, so it doesn't matter what I get next. Actually, this is kind of interesting too, but not as good as queen takes g2. Oh, g3, can't move right, but what if I move left? Check. Please don't move your king, and thank you. Watch them not move their king, but then I get can't move right. Oh, opposite. They do move their king, and I get can't move left. Okay, well, we've made something of this attack. I'm not sure how to make this concrete. I only have 2 pieces, and they're pretty well blocked out by the opponent's position. I feel like bringing another knight into the game is super slow and requires a lot of back-to-back moves. I guess I could do it this way too, but it still feels kind of slow. I don't think I have anything better though. Oh, I can't move left anyways. Why not? Okay, so only straight ahead. How about we boot the knight since we have a tempo to waste? We also have less time than the opponent, so not ideal. Okay, knight to c5, can't move right, so I'll move left instead and just start to bring more pieces into the attack. 1 minute left for both me and my opponent. Knight takes, can't move right. Rook to e8, if knight to e5, that kind of just nullifies the entire doubling of the rooks, but who knows, I might even just go for a little sacrifice here. 37 seconds left for the opponent. I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't thinking about flagging. 30 seconds? We do get 2 seconds back for every move, but this doesn't strike me as a sort of bullet player. Again, I really shouldn't be doing these captures. I just said that it's 50-50 on whether or not I can take back, but I guess I got lucky on this one. If the opponent takes, hopefully I can still move right and take back. 20 seconds left for the opponent. Again, probably not the cleanest way to win this, but I think it's probably good enough. Knight goes back, can't move right. Oh, but I can move left. Let's just move back and defend the knight instead. Obviously, couldn't have moved there because the queen just picks it up. Bishop to d2, can't move left. That's okay, we'll just move straight ahead. If I can open up this king, I'm willing to bet that I can cause my opponent enough of a headache that they won't know what to do. Again, I already said not the cleanest way to win this, but can't move right. Let's move ahead again. Probably shouldn't be opening up my king, but opponent takes, can't move left. Sure, why not? Nasty position that I put myself in. Let's go, I don't know, queen d5, I guess? I really don't need to give my opponent too much extra thinking time, so I'm just gonna kind of make some moves. We're definitely trying to lure out the king here. And the opponent does flag. Okay, with that, we win game number 4. We have 3 victories under our belt. Let's go ahead and pop up the info board. All right, info board. Your opponent ran out of time and you won. Your opponent's drawback was punching down. Your pieces can't capture pieces worth more than them, and anything can capture a piece. Oh, interesting. So actually, it's not that terrible. I agree that it's really not that difficult compared to our drawback, because you can capture piece to piece. So bishop to bishop, knight to knight, pawn to pawn, all of those are fine. You just can't capture, for example, a rook with a bishop. But that's such a rare situation anyways that I don't think it's terribly difficult to work with. We do have 3 victories under our belt. Let's go to move on to game number 5. All right, game number 5, we get the black pieces, and our drawback is cowardly. When your opponent captures, you must move backwards or lose. Okay, it seems we have a trend of drawbacks that cause me to not be able to attack or move my pieces. When your opponent captures, you must move backwards or lose. So what, I can only recapture backwards if I even want to recapture? Okay, so we're gonna have to play a very gentle opening that does not offer any sort of friction to the opponent. Because if I do like pawn versus pawn and the opponent takes, what am I gonna do? Move a piece backwards and just keep losing material? So we'll go e6. And basically we have to be the ones to capture. So if the opponent ever offers us a capture, we basically have to be the ones to take it right away. Okay, so if the opponent takes here, I have to move backwards, which means I have to move bishop here and then I immediately lose the game. So let's play c6 and call the opponent's bluff. But if they do take, we're pretty much done. Okay, they do move back. Let's keep developing. Pawn to d3, keep developing in the most amicable way possible. Pawn to b3, bishop b4, give me your free knight, please, I need it. Oh, the best part is I can't even take because the opponent takes back and then I have to move backwards. Okay, let's just castle out of the way for now. It's funny because the bishop is trapped. We get pawn to a3, I'll move back. And the best part is I can't even trap it because if I play b5, the opponent will probably desperado with the knight. They do play b4 to escape, so they're actually fine now. But had I played b5, they could desperado with the knight and I can't even take back. In fact, I have to move backwards. So not a lot to work with there. How do we continue development? d6, knight d7, I guess. Bishop back to b3. Again, no real reason to think that they're getting ready to sacrifice. So we should be fine. I'm curious why they haven't castled yet. Oh, because they want to castle this way and just completely demolish me. Yep, that makes pretty good sense, to be honest. Wow, how do I even start an attack? c5, if my opponent captures, I have to move backwards. So like, what am I supposed to do here? Queen c7? Let's do queen c7 with a side of hoping and praying that the opponent has to give away their queen in 2 moves or something. Pawn to g3, I mean, it's not the fastest way to start an attack, but it might make some sense. a6? Why don't we build a pawn wall? Nothing else to do here anyways, so might as well. Yeah, there's the long castle. Okay, let's do this. The only way I see this working is like b5, a5. If the opponent takes, I move my rook backwards, and then at some point I can take back and try to continue to open up the line. So we'll go with that idea. h5 here is super annoying. Knight has to move out of the way. If my opponent captures, again, I have to move backwards. So not a lot going for us here. g4, please take my pawn. I've never been so desperate for my opponent to take one of my pieces. Opponent is giving this a deep think. I'm going to bet that their drawback has to do with capturing too, because they have not leaned into any captures. We all have all 16 pieces. Okay, pawn to h5, I'm definitely going to take. And we won! Okay, sweet! Holy smokes! Okay, with that, we win game number 5. That is our 4th victory. Let's go ahead and pop up the info board. Okay, you won, I guess. Your opponent lost due to their drawback. Your opponent's drawback was boastful. You lose if you have fewer pieces than your opponent. Wow, that's interesting. Apparently ours was super hard. The opponent's was quite difficult as well, but honestly, by luck, we managed to pull away with the victory. With that, we have 4 victories under our belt. Let's go to move on to game number 6. All right, game number 6, we get the black pieces again, and our drawback is Simon Says. You must move on to the same color square as your opponent's last move. So basically, whatever our opponent plays dictates what squares we get to move to. Oh, and your opponent revealed their drawback. Let's play c6 real quick. The scent of blood. You can't make non-capturing moves with pieces that could capture. I didn't even process what I just read. I hope you guys did. We did make it our policy that we will reveal our drawback to our opponent if they reveal it first. So now let's do a little compare and contrast. We must move to a light square, and your opponent's drawback is the scent of blood. You can't make non-capturing moves with pieces that could capture. So you have to take my piece if I offer it to you? That sounds terrible, to be honest. Actually, no, you don't have to take them. You just can't move them anywhere else. So you can actually paralyze pieces by offering trades. Oh, we must move to a light square. Okay. D5, I guess. And this is quite good. This means the opponent will either have to simplify or lose material or leave their pieces paralyzed. And honestly, in comparison, our drawback is not bad at all. For example, this knight could capture, so it can't do anything else but capture. Oh, we have to move to a dark square. Knight to f6, I guess. Cool thing is, if the opponent moves to a light square, I also move to a light square, and then we paralyze the bishop. So I guess knight to c6 is probably as good as any other move. Yep, knight to c6. Again, this bishop can't do anything but capture. This knight can't do anything but capture. This knight still has free reign, but I guess putting more pressure here doesn't do much if I can just defend. Knight to e5. Oh, it moves to a dark square. Okay, so I have to move to a dark square as well. But again, we've paralyzed both of these pieces, all three of these pieces actually. So I don't think it's all that good for our opponent. Okay, they move to a light square, so we must move to a light square. We'll play e6, reinforce the center. I'm not playing super aggressive here because honestly, the opponent's doing the work for us. They're kind of paralyzing their own pieces as they go. Like this queen can't do anything but take or take. Yeah, pawn to d4, we must move to a dark square. Let's go bishop d6. I mean, if we can win a free pawn, why not? Bishop g5, I can just take. Go and pre-move the recapture as well. The opponent will be taking onto a dark square, so we can play with check. Cool thing is, if we ever check the king and it's protected by another piece of ours, the king has no choice but to take, and then we win the king. Or I guess it could just stay there and we take it, but you know, you get the idea. Okay, king castle's out of the way, onto a dark square, which means I can take with check. Again, the opponent pretty much did our work for us, and also our drawback is just not as hard as the opponent. They move to a light square, we can move to a light square. We're in a great spot here. All three of these pieces, all four of these pieces are completely paralyzed. If they try to develop another piece, it becomes paralyzed too. H4 threatens the queen, so I probably should move her out of the way. Queen d5 is as good as anywhere else. And honestly, we can probably just start a kingside attack here in just a second. I mean, queenside attack, sorry, towards the king though. G4, the opponent is looking for the exact same idea. Maybe I should just trade pieces, right? They move to a light square, I move to a light square, they move to a light square, I move to a light square. Everybody's happy. Well, I'm happy because we're trading off pieces, so this attack won't have any punch. And the opponent probably wouldn't be happy because again, all of these pieces are completely paralyzed. So if your pawns breaking through don't make a successful attack, then it's pretty much over. Okay, bishop takes c6. We must also move to a light square, so I will oblige with the recapture. The knight takes. Again, I oblige, and then I take. And actually, it moves the rook out of having to basically stare at the pawn. But the funny thing is, the rook can't do much else now. What are you going to do? Stare at my pawn again, and then I just defend it? And then he's trapped again. So f5? Oh, they move to a light square, so I must move to a light square. Oh, darn you, drawback. I mean, I think we're still completely winning, so no real issue, but kind of annoying. Oh, must move to a dark square. Sorry, not a light square. Okay, let's go e5. If the opponent takes on a light square, I take on a light square. If the opponent takes on a dark square, then we'll figure out what to do next. Oh wait, that's just a free bishop. What am I doing? Oh, I just gave away a free piece. Okay, well, darn it. Let's play, wait, it's not a free piece, f5. And the opponent can't make any move but taking on g7, which I can just take back. Opponent moves to a dark square, I move to a dark square as well. Opponent moves to a light square, then I will also move to a light square. If they move to a dark square, I defend. If they move to a light square, I just move out of the way. I mean, I should be totally fine here. Check, I just take. Check on a light square, I move to a light square as well. And the opponent can't move because they have the option of capturing on a7. So pretty much game over. Again, I do apologize for being too nonchalant and just kind of taking on g4 and immediately losing a bishop, but our drawback is so much less impactful than the opponent's that it doesn't really matter, to be honest. All right, 10 seconds left for the opponent. We're either going to get a resignation in just a moment or a flag, and it seems a flag is very likely. Sweet, with that, we win game number 6. That is, in fact, our 5th victory. Let's go ahead and pop up the info board. Okay, you won. Your opponent ran out of time. Your opponent's drawback was, I don't have to reread it. We already know what it was. We were taking advantage of it the entire game. It seems our drawback was a little more difficult, but we still managed to pull away with the victory. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know down below which one of these drawbacks you think was the hardest to play against, and I will see you guys in the next one.